The history of United States involvement in Haiti is a tale of geopolitical maneuvering, economic exploitation, and political interference. For over a century, the United States has played a dominant role in shaping Haiti's political and economic landscape, often at the expense of Haitian sovereignty and development. Haiti won its independence from France in 1804 after a successful slave revolt, making it the first Black republic and the first nation to abolish slavery. The revolution had been costly for France, both in terms of the loss of the colony, which was one of the most profitable in the world, and the loss of French settlers' property. Following its independence, Haiti faced isolation and hostility from many global powers, including France, the US, and other European nations, all of which feared the influence of a successful slave revolution. The United States, with its own complicated relationship with slavery, viewed Haiti with a mixture of fear and strategic interest. The success of the Haitian Revolution sent shockwaves through the American South, where enslaved people and their owners watched with bated breath. In 1825, under pressure from France and facing the threat of military invasion, Haiti agreed to pay reparations to France in exchange for official recognition of its independence. French King Charles X issued an ordinance requiring Haiti to pay 150 million francs as compensation for the loss of slaves and property. This amount was enormous, estimated at the time to be about 10 times Haiti's annual revenue. The sum was eventually reduced to 90 million francs in 1838, but it remained a massive burden. To meet the demand for reparations, Haiti had to take out loans from French banks at high interest rates, plunging the country into a cycle of debt that lasted for more than a century. These debt payments consumed a significant portion of Haiti's national budget for decades. Some estimates suggest that around 80% of Haiti's national revenue went toward paying off the debt and interest at times, stifling the government's ability to invest in infrastructure, education, and economic development. The debt crippled Haiti's economy and prevented it from investing in its own development. The country remained poor and underdeveloped, while most of its revenues went toward paying off reparations. The strain on Haiti's finances also had serious social consequences, leading to widespread poverty, a lack of basic services, and economic instability. This contributed to political instability and frequent coups, making the country more vulnerable to external intervention, including from the United States. Haiti continued to make debt payments until 1947, over 120 years after it gained independence. By then, the payments, interest, and borrowing required to service the debt had cost Haiti far more than the original amount demanded by France. The United States' formal involvement in Haiti began in the early 19th century, shortly after Haiti declared independence in 1804. However, it wasn't until 1915 that the U.S. decisively asserted control over Haiti. Central to this relationship has been the U.S. view of the Caribbean as its backyard, a region of critical strategic importance where American influence and dominance must be preserved. From the late 19th century onward, the U.S. has been driven by various motivations in its involvement with Haiti, including economic interests, geopolitical strategy, and the prevention of foreign influence, particularly from European powers. Haiti's proximity to the Panama Canal, one of America's most vital assets, made the country an even more valuable piece in the United States' broader plan to secure its dominance in the Caribbean. Over time, U.S. justifications for intervention evolved, from protecting shipping routes and stabilizing economies to fighting the spread of communism during the Cold War.
Interrupting the video for a quick promo. Please subscribe to the channel for more history facts. Thank you.
Despite its relative poverty compared to other nations, Haiti held strategic and economic appeal. U.S. business interests in agriculture, especially coffee, sugar, and cotton, made Haiti an attractive target for investment. American businesses saw potential in Haiti's fertile land and sought to control agricultural production for export. At the same time, European powers, particularly Germany and France, were also looking at Haiti with commercial and political interests. For the U.S., any European foothold in Haiti was unacceptable under the Monroe Doctrine, which opposed European intervention in the Western Hemisphere. American policymakers feared that Germany might use Haiti as a base of operations or trading hub, threatening U.S. dominance in the Caribbean. Even before the construction of the Panama Canal, Haiti's location on key shipping routes made it an important area for U.S. geopolitical strategy. The opening of the Panama Canal in 1914 elevated Haiti's strategic importance to the United States. The canal allowed U.S. ships to bypass the lengthy journey around South America, making the Caribbean a focal point for military and commercial shipping routes. Any nation near the canal, or on major Caribbean shipping lanes, became vital to U.S. interests. In 1904, the U.S. implemented the Roosevelt Corollary to the Monroe Doctrine to protect the canal and assert dominance in the region. This policy gave the U.S. the right to intervene in Latin American countries to prevent European intervention and ensure stability. Haiti, plagued by internal political turmoil and foreign debts, became a prime target for U.S. involvement. The U.S. began taking steps to gain control over Haiti's customs revenue, ensuring its financial system aligned with American interests. This laid the groundwork for deeper intervention in the coming years. In 1915, Haiti descended into chaos following the assassination of its president, Vilbrun Guillaume Sam. Fearing instability that could invite European intervention, President Woodrow Wilson quickly sent in U.S. Marines to restore order, citing instability and the protection of American lives and property as reasons for intervention. Behind this justification lay deeper concerns: Haiti's strategic location and the need to protect U.S. commercial interests in the Caribbean, particularly to protect the nearby Panama Canal, especially during a time of increasing European imperialism. So began the U.S. occupation of Haiti, which lasted from 1915 to 1934, marking nearly 2 decades of direct control. During the occupation, the U.S. exercised control over virtually all aspects of Haitian governance, including its military, finances, and infrastructure. The United States took control of Haiti's customs house, its main source of revenue, and used it to pay off Haiti's foreign debts, many of which were owed to French and American banks. This move was justified by the U.S. as a necessary step to stabilize Haiti's economy, but it also ensured that American financial interests were prioritized. The occupation further weakened Haiti's sovereignty over its economy, and much of Haiti's economic policy during this period was dictated by foreign interests. The U.S. imposed policies that favored American economic interests, including the establishment of the Haitian American Sugar Company, which exploited Haitian labor and land for the benefit of the U.S. American officials rewrote the Haitian Constitution in 1918 to allow foreign land ownership, which had previously been prohibited. U.S. businesses continued to exploit Haiti's agricultural resources, with the occupation serving to protect and enhance these interests. The occupation government also embarked on a series of ambitious infrastructure projects, including the construction of roads, bridges, and hospitals. These projects were aimed at modernizing Haiti and improving its infrastructure, which had been neglected for years. The U.S. believed that these improvements would help in stabilizing the country and fostering economic growth. These projects, while undoubtedly beneficial in the long run, were often carried out using forced labor, a practice that was widely condemned as a form of slavery. Haitian laborers were compelled to work under harsh conditions, with little to no compensation, leading to widespread resentment and anger among the local population. Despite the U.S. framing its occupation as beneficial, many Haitians resisted. The most notable example was the Cacos Rebellion, 1918 to 1920, in which rural insurgents took up arms against U.S. forces. The rebellion was ultimately crushed, but Haitian resentment toward the occupation remained strong. By 1934, under President Franklin D. Roosevelt's Good Neighbor policy, the U.S. formally ended its occupation of Haiti, though it continued to control Haiti's finances for years afterwards. The occupation left a legacy of resentment and economic disruption, yet it laid the foundation for future American involvement in Haitian affairs. Even after the official end of the occupation, the U.S. continued to exert significant influence over Haiti, particularly during the Cold War era. The rise of communist movements in Latin America and the Caribbean made Haiti an important ally in the United States' fight against the spread of communism. During this period, the U.S. supported the authoritarian regimes of François Papa Doc Duvalier and his son Jean-Claude Baby Doc Duvalier, who ruled Haiti from 1957 to 1986. The Duvalier regimes were marked by extreme brutality and repression, but they received U.S. support in exchange for their staunch anti-communism stance, which aligned with Washington's geopolitical priorities in the region. The U.S. saw the Duvaliers as a defense against leftist ideologies, And despite widespread human rights abuses, the U.S. provided economic aid and military assistance to their governments. From the U.S. perspective, Haiti's stability was more important than its democratic development. While the Duvalier dynasty enriched itself through corruption and violence, Haiti's economy stagnated, and its people suffered. However, American interests were secured as long as the Duvaliers maintained control over the political landscape and kept potential communist influences at bay. Economically, the U.S. continued to exploit Haiti's agricultural potential while tapping into the country's cheap labor. Haiti's low wages made it an attractive location for American companies seeking labor-intensive industries such as textiles. The ongoing Cold War ensured the U.S. maintained its control over Haiti, aligning its politics and economy with American interests. The overthrow of Jean-Claude Duvalier in 1986 marked the end of the Duvalier dynasty, but Haiti continued to experience political instability. After years of dictatorship, Haiti held its first free and fair elections in 1990, and Jean-Bertrand Aristide, a former priest with populist and leftist leanings, won a landslide victory. Aristide's government challenged U.S. interests in Haiti as he sought to empower the poor and implement social reforms that directly opposed Washington's neoliberal economic policies. However, Aristide's presidency was short-lived. After just 7 months in office, he was overthrown in a military coup in 1991, plunging Haiti back into turmoil. The U.S., fearing the rise of leftist forces and the collapse of order in its backyard, intervened militarily in 1994 under the leadership of President Bill Clinton to restore Aristide to power. This intervention was framed as a mission to restore democracy, but it also served U.S. strategic interests in maintaining stability in the Caribbean. After Aristide's return, the U.S. continued to have significant influence over Haiti's economy and political institutions. Haiti's continued reliance on U.S. aid and development programs ensured that American interests remained central to the country's governance. Although the U.S. initially supported his return to power, the relationship between Aristide and the U.S. remained tense. Aristide's push for social and economic justice threatened the interests of Haiti's elite and foreign investors, many of whom had close ties to the U.S. government. In 2004, Aristide was ousted again in another coup, which was widely believed to have been supported by the U.S. Aristide was exiled from Haiti. Even after the end of direct U.S. military interventions, Haiti remained a priority for American foreign policy, particularly in regards to controlling migration. Political crises, economic hardship, and natural disasters have led to repeated waves of Haitian migration to the U.S., especially after the devastating 2010 earthquake. As a result, managing Haitian migration has become a key focus of U.S. policy toward Haiti in recent decades. Management has often taken the form of economic aid, development projects, and support for Haitian governments that maintain order, even when these governments have questionable democratic credentials. In the aftermath of Aristide's being ousted, Haiti's political and economic systems became increasingly reliant on foreign aid, much of it coming from the U.S. However, this aid often comes with political strings attached, ensuring that Haiti's government aligns with U.S. interests. This era marked the beginning of what some scholars have called Haiti's transformation into an aid state. Rather than fostering long-term development and self-sufficiency, the U.S. and international donors directed aid through a network of NGOs, multilateral organizations, and development contractors that often bypassed Haitian state institutions. This structure established a system of dependency, where the country's governance and economic life were effectively outsourced to foreign entities. The massive international response following the 2010 earthquake deepened this dependency. Billions of dollars in aid flowed into Haiti, but much of it was mismanaged or funneled to foreign contractors rather than benefiting local communities. The U.S. and other international actors played a significant role in shaping the post-earthquake reconstruction efforts, which many Haitians saw as foreign-imposed and disconnected from their needs. The aid state model allowed the U.S. to maintain significant control over Haiti's development while avoiding direct political responsibility for the country's failures. Beyond political interference, the U.S. has used economic policies to maintain control over Haiti. Starting with the Reagan administration, neoliberal economic reforms were imposed on Haiti, often as conditions for receiving aid or loans. During the 1980s and 1990s, the U.S. and international financial institutions pressured Haiti into adopting neoliberal economic reforms. These reforms included trade liberalization, which opened the country to international markets and reduced import tariffs. One of the most damaging policies was the reduction of import tariffs on rice. In 1995, under pressure from the US and the International Monetary Fund, Haiti lowered its tariff on imported rice from 35% to just 3%. This allowed cheaper, subsidized US rice to flood the Haitian market. The influx of cheap US rice, often called Miami rice in Haiti, drastically undercut Haitian rice farmers, who couldn't compete with the low prices of US rice. As a result, local rice production plummeted, and Haiti became heavily dependent on imported rice. Before this, Haiti was largely self-sufficient in rice production, but by the early 2000s, over 80% of the rice consumed in Haiti was imported from the US. US rice farmers benefited from government subsidies, allowing them to sell their rice at lower prices on the global market, including in Haiti. These subsidies enabled American rice to be sold at prices far below the cost of production for Haitian farmers, further crippling Haiti's local rice industry. This policy resulted in a collapse of domestic rice production, loss of livelihoods for Haitian rice farmers, and increased dependence on imported rice. Many rural farmers were forced to abandon rice farming, increasing poverty in rural areas. With its domestic rice production weakened, Haiti became vulnerable to global price fluctuations. This dependence on imported rice left the country exposed to food price increases, such as during the global food crisis of 2007 to 2008, when the price of rice skyrocketed, leading to widespread hunger and riots in Haiti. These changes in Haiti's agricultural policy were part of a broader set of structural adjustment programs promoted by international financial institutions and supported by the US. The structural adjustment programs aim to reduce government involvement in the economy, privatize state-owned enterprises, and promote free trade. While the goal was to integrate Haiti into the global economy, it unintentionally destroyed the domestic agricultural sector, including rice production, which had been vital to Haiti's rural economy. The United States, through its economic policies, effectively shaped Haiti's economy to serve its own agricultural and commercial interests, with little regard for the negative consequences on Haitian livelihoods. In 2010, former President Bill Clinton, who supported these trade policies during his presidency, publicly apologized for the role of US rice subsidies and trade policies in destroying Haiti's rice sector. He admitted that promoting US rice exports to Haiti was a mistake that devastated Haitian farmers and their ability to sustain local rice production. For more than a century, the US has maintained control over Haiti through a combination of military interventions, economic policies, and political interference. From the 1915 occupation to the Cold War dictatorships and the neoliberal reforms of the late 20th century, American involvement in Haiti has consistently prioritized US interests over Haitian autonomy and development. While the pretext for intervention has often been framed in terms of stability, democracy, or humanitarian aid, the underlying goal has been to ensure that Haiti remains a compliant partner in the Western Hemisphere, serving as a site of economic exploitation and geopolitical control. Haiti's current challenges, economic instability, weak governance, and ongoing political crises, are in many ways the result of this long history of foreign intervention. As the US continues to wield influence in Haitian affairs, the question remains, will Haiti ever be allowed to chart its own course free from foreign domination, or will it remain an aid state, beholden to the interests of external powers? Thank you for watching. If you learned something from this video, please hit the like button, share the video, show some love, leave a comment below, and subscribe if you are new here.